I'm Euro,
I'm Chris,
and
and
this
this is
is
Fork
Fork
Bomb.
Bomb. This is our very first show. A little bit about our podcast. It's about anything we have in mind, but mostly just tech. So without further ado, on December 8th, 2016, episode 1,
What if we never
what
had
if we
broadband?
never had broadband? Yeah.
Life would suck.
Life would definitely suck. I don't want to go back to having 56K.
When did you first get
I
broadband?
um it was summer of 1999. And I remember because it's a historic moment once you get broadband. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. And we started out with Time Warner with Roadrunner cable. I don't know if you have that, Chris, but I've kind
Yeah,
of switched on from there.
I
I'm
still
on.
have Time Warner.
You're still on. I don't know what all they have where you're at, but over here we have Comcast and AT&T, and that's pretty much it. So I've tried both.
And
I
they're
went
both
from
terrible.
Comcast, and they're both terrible. So I went from Comcast to AT&T, and now I'm back to Comcast.
I guess mine was around 1999 as well. But I guess we should probably agree on some definitions because the definition of broadband is changing constantly. Like before, broadband was when we first got broadband, we were getting what 1 megabit a second, if that. And now the official definition of broadband is 5 megabits per second.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah. So broadband, anything over 5. I think we both
Anything
have
non-modem?
over 5. Everything non-modem. DSL 128. That's. Would you consider that a modem? DSL modems.
I don't think I would. But it's two modems, right?
Yeah.
No, wait.
Um,
DSL. No, I'm thinking of
DSL.
ISDN.
DSL. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, DSL would be broadband.
Broadband. Yeah. So yeah, yeah. No, that's definitely broadband. I'm sure a bunch of haters out there are gonna definitely start hating on me for not calling DSL broadband. You know what? Whatever. DSL's not broadband.
But, but yeah. So what? Just so we can compare, what if we never had it? What was the first thing you could do that you couldn't do before once you got broadband speed access to the internet?
The simple fact that I could just turn on my computer and click on the browser and not have to dial in, I'm immediately on. That already changed everything. So if I have to go back and dial in and everything, I mean it's not like it was a big deal back then, but just right now everything's instant on. I think that extra step made a difference for me. Uh, I don't know. I like that it's always on. I can just do anything. I can download. I can leave my computer on for weeks on end. It's downloading. It's connected. Um, you know, I can do so many things that I couldn't do back then. I had to log off. I had to disconnect. Get off the matrix. I don't know.
I know for me, pirating got much easier.
Yeah. Do you remember that tool, Get Right?
No.
So Get Right, and you may have used a different tool, but Get Right was it was a tool that would stop. It would pause your downloads, or you could stop them, but you could resume them, and it was pretty much it worked on pretty much any site, and you could queue up downloads too from different sites. Your browser didn't have to be pointed at that site to be able to start downloading. You could go somewhere else, and this is like before tab browsing and all that stuff, and all this would queue up on your list of stuff to download, and it would just go on to different sites, and it would download. I don't know if you used anything like that, but it was great. I mean, for 56K and below, that was awesome.
Yeah.
You could start downloading an MP3. I know back then MP3s used to take about an hour, but let's say I would do the first 10 minutes of downloading, and then I'd hit pause, and I'd resume later. I would log off the internet, and then I would log back on, unpause, keep downloading.
Well, that's that brings one thing to mind that would never have happened if we did not have broadband. The digital music revolution. We would still be buying CDs at like $20 a pop.
But yes, and I'm not going to disagree. But wasn't Napster there when modems were around? When 56K was still a thing?
It was, but it was new, and it wasn't as easy. Like, could you imagine iTunes existing and the iTunes store if the
Right.
fastest access you had was 56K? Do you think it would have been as successful?
No. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're right.
I mean, yeah, pirating would still be there, but
Right.
the tipping point that caused the entire music industry to change how it operates, that wouldn't have happened.
Agreed. Yeah, definitely. Going from it taking, so my connection wasn't the best, and it would take about an hour. Depends on who you were downloading from, I guess, but it would take about an hour and a half. Depends on also the bit rate of the MP3. Back then, I was set on 128K, which 128 bit MP3s, which now it's like, why would you even do that? But back then, to keep the download size manageable, you could keep the download in just under an hour or hour and a half if you're me. It would be at 128 bit rate, and I still have a bunch of MP3s that are 128 bit. Yeah, so broadband definitely took that cap off.
Yeah, definitely. What else? What's one that you have?
What happened? I'm sorry.
What's one that you have?
So I actually put on here. So I'm a YouTube junkie. I subscribe to a bunch of channels. I hit like. I comment everything. I love YouTube, and so YouTube I don't even think would exist if 56K was our was the only thing that we had. If broadband didn't exist, I don't think YouTube would have even it wouldn't have done anything. I mean, remember how even just doing voice chat, what a challenge that was using Microsoft NetMeeting. People would be pixelated. The signal. I mean, I've had it to where the connection gets lost. It would be like you're looking at somebody in space. So I don't think YouTube would exist unless they get really, really, really good at compressing videos.
I can say one thing that that not having broadband would not have made not possible, because I was the direct recipient of this with NetMeeting. When it was new, we would just play around and find people, strangers to talk to, and it was basically chat roulette. And one time, over our crappy modem connection, some guy decided to show his nether parts in full 56K glory, and that was the last time I ever used NetMeeting.
Was it nice and pixelated?
It was. It was. He looked right in the camera, stood up.
And then, wah, pixelation, right? It was like NetMeeting censored itself.
Yes, I'm so happy it was pixelated.
That's great. Actually, you know what? I'm wondering if, and this is going back to the YouTube thing. I'm wondering if YouTube, okay, if it did exist, would it even be Flash based? I mean,
Maybe. I know we had Flash back then.
yeah, we did.
And one
But
thing that... Sorry, after you.
no, would you say that the video? I don't know if what was it? Shockwave. Would it be? Do you think Flash would be able to compress to that level? I mean, and you obviously know more about this than I do, having worked in Flash and all. But I don't know. I mean, are those Shockwave files? Can they get that small?
No, but I do know that, well, I don't know this for sure, but I have heard that one thing that Flash is really, really good at is being a video player. Um, especially when it comes to FLVs. Don't quote me on that. I need to look that up. But it still may have happened in a limited capacity.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was just thinking that. I was just wondering if they had made it because QuickTime used to be a big thing back then. And the compression rate. Oh, and real time. Remember Real Player?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and Real Player. I was using Real Player back in those days, and the quality was terrible and everything, but it worked. I don't know if they would be able to make a whole entire YouTube site and host a ton of Real Player files. I don't think so. The player didn't do that. You had to load the whole player on your computer and everything.
But even just the upload, people getting videos up there, you would have to saturate your tiny bit of upload bandwidth for days to upload.
Right. So
A video
content
of any length.
in this
Content up there.
hypothetical YouTube content would be very slow.
In this alternate dystopian future.
Alternate dystopian future.
Or
It's like our
dystopian
apocalypse.
present, I guess.
It's like our apocalypse. It's not having broadband.
There's always the possibility that we could have managed always-on connections, but really slow always-on connections.
True. Okay. Yeah. I guess so.
But I guess for the sake of making it simple, I guess we're just saying we're still stuck on modems.
Right.
We have had, it is 2016, we are still hearing those awful screeching modem noises.
Yeah, I still hear it at work, but mostly when people fax. And yes, people still do fax.
Yes.
Another one that I wrote down, this is a big one, is smartphones. So, how do you think smartphones would work? And this is, again, going the assumption, like you said, that you would actually have to dial to get data, to download your programs onto your phone. How would that even be possible with a cell phone? I guess it could dial to a server.
That one's hard to answer because we don't know if the smartphone technology would have evolved in the same way or not. It may have, at least at first, because when cellular phones first started off, they were analog. It was an analog radio signal. In fact, you could even listen in on the radio waves and hear people's conversations. Mm-hmm. But then at some point in time, we went to packet switching. So once everything became digital packets, eventually we got rid of the old analog systems. But 2G is digital, but arguably about as slow as a modem.
So with 2G, obviously smartphones were around and everything, but what about the quality of apps and everything? I mean, I have a lot of games and stuff on my phone. They would probably take forever on 2G on Edge. And again, I guess we haven't really specified. Does broadband just mean always on connection, or is it one of those that you have to dial into?
I think always on always on does not mean broadband, because
right.
with
Understood.
2G you have modem level speeds, but it's always on.
Right. Yeah.
However, I do remember utilizing old analog flip style cell phones and hooking those up to a PCM CIA modem,
Mm-hmm.
and using those to dial a phone line and use that as a modem.
So what about things like over-the-air updates, stuff like that? You know how your apps update overnight, things like that? I mean,
Yeah.
This could get a little crazy with 2G.
Yeah, and our bills would probably be insane too. Our phone bills.
Phone bills would be insane. A data plan. I wonder if the data plans would be in gigabytes. I mean, they'd probably be in megabytes.
We might not even have data plans for all we know. the smartphone revolution may not have even happened.
Right. Right. So I was just I was thinking about updating apps. Would a phone with lots of processing power be needed? I mean, I have so my Samsung phone has a quad core in it with 2G. These small apps. Do you think they would need a lot of processing power? I don't see a phone going over a single core. I mean, why would you need it for very small, tiny apps? Um,
Probably not.
probably the operating system wouldn't be a whole lot bigger. I'm wondering if updates, you would have to go to the store to update your phone.
Yeah, you probably would.
Yeah. So if Apple released the latest security patch because there's some malware out there, um, but I guess you'd have to take it to the store, to the Apple store, stand in line and wait.
Something else that may not have taken off, at least as quickly, is open source desktops. Those desktops, like any Linux-based desktop, they use a central software repository downloads that it downloads all its software from and installs it. Those downloads can get pretty hefty, and I think I remember at the tail end of when I was on a modem connection, installing an early version of OpenSUSE over a modem connection, and it was one of the first ones that I recall using where the installation just pulled in all the packages off the internet
Hmm.
and installed them that way, and I just had to leave it running overnight
Right.
just to install my operating system.
Updating an operating system
So
would also be,
I think
yeah.
we would still be using those on CDs and using CDs as our local or DVDs as our local package repositories. We wouldn't be getting updates. Even for Windows, there probably wouldn't Windows Update probably wouldn't be as heavily used if it existed at all.
Uh, Um,
It would probably still exist.
yeah, it existed back in Windows 95, 98 specifically. I remember seeing that, but you're absolutely right. They were small. Um, I'm sure somebody online is going to correct me, but but
I'm sure we're gonna get. I'm sure we're going to get tons of stuff wrong.
yeah, but I do remember performing Windows updates over modem, and it used to take forever. The download sizes were a lot smaller though. I'm talking about megabytes for some security patch or whatnot. But you're right. Linux would definitely take a hit. Um, I mean, just even testing new distros out. Forget that. I mean, without having to, I don't know. As long as if broadband didn't exist, how would you test stuff without going to your buddy that leaves his computer on all night? I guess to download.
Well,
But
my first two Linux distributions I bought from Best Buy.
same here, but it was only one. It was mine was Red Hat 5.
Mine was Red Hat 9 and Mandrake.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
but also, we'd probably be mail ordering discs.
Yeah, I definitely think that that companies like I don't know, Babbage's, if you remember Babbage's, and Best Buy, and hell, CompUSA, Circuit City might still be around because all these stores would be the ones selling the software.
I don't think I've ever seen a Babbage's before.
Okay, it was similar to like an EB Games, or even the now GameStop, but they used to actually sell software and games. Yeah. But there was another place too in Texas where I grew up, Computer City, and you'd have rows and rows of just software. But even CopUSA has it's still around, rows of software. So, but that's just it's really interesting. I think that software is definitely one of those things that Would have kept their well, they would be more in stock in the retail stores. Uh-huh.
I don't
Oh,
think.
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I don't think we fully addressed the smartphone thing. Really, I don't think that it would have happened like it is now. I think we'd just still be having little tiny flip phones running tiny Java apps.
I think that the smartphones would have had like limited sales. Nobody's gonna want to use a phone that takes forever to get any app, and you really have to think about what to get before you hit that buy button. Uh, you know,
Yeah.
even the free stuff would take time.
What were you starting on?
Well, I mean, I was just thinking about just in general software sales, even videos, and then that was going to bring me over to stuff like Steam. How the hell would Steam work? I mean, it's not impossible. Yes, Broadband made it a lot easier, but come on, do you really want to download? So I just downloaded Doom, the new Doom, 50 gigabytes. There's no way I would have downloaded 50 gigabytes over a modem connection.
I can guarantee you the whole make a broken game, distribute that as a physical copy, and then fix it in an update would fly. Honestly, I would like that.
Yeah.
I would love if that never happened.
Yeah. No selling broken games. Yeah.
No, DLC, that would never be a market.
Well, so yes and no because so I remember I bought when I bought Warcraft 2, they came out with an expansion which I forget the name of it. Definitely wasn't Tides of Darkness. I forgot the name of the expansion, but that expansion came on another CD. And you had to, so I went to Best Buy and picked up that CD, installed it, and whatever. That was sort of a DLC, but yes, the DLC in our modern sense, where we can just buy the rest of the content online. I don't see that happening. Absolutely, you're right. You know, yeah.
I think I know one thing that would look exactly the same.
What?
Craigslist.
Man, Craigslist. Well, would you have those thumbnails? Will take a while to download. Oh, it's like it would be like surfing an old porn site or something. A bunch of pixelated Wii U's and pixelated guitars and stuff, and they load.
Drudge Report would look the same.
Yeah, 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 yep.
We lost the cool noises that it makes. Honestly, I enjoyed that.
Do you remember actually the Google would probably look similar, right? I don't see that changing much.
If you look at what Google looked like back then, it looked quite a bit different. Well, just
That's
because
true.
their logo changed a lot, but yeah, it would look similar. There was a time when the front page of Google was kind of cluttered, but they scaled back.
A lot of those search engines were kind of cluttered, and we were on modems. That's mind blowing. I remember going on Excite and Alta Vista, and it would just be full of crap, including commercials and everything on the sides and all that. And all that would just take time loading. That's why they actually a lot of the times I surfed the internet back then with no graphics to load everything really quick.
I still do that. I use on machines that just can't handle the modern web. I use text-based web browsers,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it is very quick.
it is, and I did it out of necessity back then, especially when it started loading up all those animated GIFs of, click here to buy and all this stuff. Absolutely.
Something
Um,
else. Oh, sorry.
I was going to bring up one quick thing, and actually, this is more of a question. Do you think that pop-ups? I don't remember having a huge pop-up problem, but maybe I was just very conscious when I used my computer. Pop-ups on modem. What do you think?
Yeah, that was a thing.
That was a thing.
That was a
I
thing.
was just thinking that maybe it was the broadband that brought pop-ups yeah, something. It was more prevalent. It would load a full casino site or something, you know.
Ads don't care. Pop-ups don't care how much bandwidth they use.
That's true. That's true.
Something that we would not have done is exhausted the IPv4 space.
That's true.
If suddenly it's easy just to hook anything up to the internet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't remember having that many items, that many computers natted back then. I didn't even use a router. I used a hub back then. So I would connect my hub to my cable modem, and all four machines would go online.
Scary.
Hub.
Very scary.
No firewall. Just hub. And somehow no pop-ups. So
Yep.
let me regress. I had pop-ups. I just didn't have full-blown casino sites that would load with Flash content and stuff. I had, click here to see John's John or something, but you know.
The Windows Messenger problem still would have happened.
Yeah.
But just only when you were connected and dialed in.
Right. I actually firewall, that reminds me of a firewall, and I'm getting off topic, but whatever. I used to use a firewall back then called Zone Alarm, and that was my firewall, my software firewall.
I remember that one.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I used to use, and it worked for the most part. I mean, it wasn't the greatest or anything, but definitely worked.
There would be no Netflix.
I was just about to go on that. So no Netflix online. Probably the DVD portion, but
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
we would still have DVDs.
We would still have DVDs.
Like,
I'm sure.
we still have video. Blockbuster would still be around.
Absolutely. We would have rental companies, Blockbuster, Hollywood Video. Absolutely. Yes,
Well,
yes.
maybe Redbox would still be taking a giant chunk of the Blockbuster, but
They wouldn't have gone out of business as soon as they did.
yeah.
Absolutely. DVDs, Blu-ray, anything that would be physical media would be around and doing well, thriving. This whole Xbox One, Xbox. I mean, they have physical media, but this whole downloading games from the Microsoft Store, forget it. I mean, they're too big. So anything that's not a couple megabytes big, yeah, nobody would want that. Um, I wrote down GPS updates. So when you have to download those large maps, forget it. Call TomTom.
Yeah. You. How would you map updates? How did we do it back then? I remember early GPSs, but they
Well,
were
my
pretty
GPS had a
difficult to
SD
update.
card.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. My computer had an SD card slot, and I would just download the update. But yeah, forget it. I mean, not when my download is 2 gigs. It would. I wouldn't do it. Get right would definitely be used heavily. Have to download something for a month.
Online gaming would be a lot harder. Back then, latency was
Yeah.
a real issue. We would have well over 1 second's time worth of latency.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And back then, those games they didn't load the graphics. They were more. We had more primitive graphics, and the games didn't have to. They didn't have these full 3D renderings. That's right. That's right. Doom. I mean, Doom was online and stuff. Even Duke Nukem, 3D was one of those online games. But come on, I mean, the amount of packets that they have to transfer over really isn't that much. Not compared to nowadays.
No, it's just
With our
they were just sending positional data and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember playing simple online games back then, like stuff like Battleship. you know, that was Solitaire Online.
We would probably have.
I just said Solitaire Online. Wow.
Wow, I didn't know that was a thing. We might have more modern style graphical games, but would still be dialing into each other's houses to play directly.
Yeah, I can see that.
And LAN parties might still be a thing.
I miss that. Um, I wish that was still around. That's one of those things that broadband is like. Well, that's great that broadband's around and everything, but I do miss LAN parties.
I threw a big one last year.
Yeah,
We sh- we should do one. That'll be really fun.
I can just bring my laptop. Or are you talking about bringing in like a full desktop? It has to be the desktop, right? It has to be. If it's gonna be a LAN party, I have to bring a full desktop with the computer monitors and keyboards and everything.
I had one friend who did do that on principle because that is how you do it.
Yes, that is how you do it. I mean, I guess you'd build one now with the little shuttle boxes, with the handles. You could do that. But I remember bringing big ones back then. Just a big box. I had a huge Antec case, and I would bring it over to Greg's house to play. Forgot what it was, Half-Life 2 or something. I don't remember. Unreal Tournament 1. Yeah. So
Do you have anything else?
let me see. I wrote down a few things, but we may have gone through. I put in no video podcasts and small regular podcasts.
Maybe not even podcast. I mean, I guess maybe.
Who's going to
Yeah,
download a
you,
30 megabyte file? Well, 30 megabytes isn't that bad.
you could just leave it downloading overnight.
Yeah, I guess
And
so.
I
But
mean, podcast, if it's just speech, you can get away with lower data rate
hmm
files.
yeah. What about but what about video pods and like even iPods? Why would you need that much space? Back then, it seemed like 10 gigs was plenty because our songs are smaller, 128-bit, and who would download that much anyway?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, why 64 gig? So those bigger iPods came out because people were downloading a lot more music, and some of them even they were putting video onto their iPods.
And because it was
You know,
and because they're coupled to a music store.
that's right. That's right. So
So
now, in a world without broadband, you probably wouldn't have a music store, and why would you need a bigger iPod? Yeah. I was also thinking about um, Skype, but Skype, I guess, falls into the same territory as Netflix. I mean, not Netflix, Net Meeting. So I guess they could have technically Skype could be around, but I don't see a lot of people using it. I can't imagine a lot of people using it. A lot of people didn't use Net Meeting, so I can't imagine Skype would be any better.
no, probably not. I'm curious to know how. I mean, Skype though is really really good with its audio and video protocols. I'm curious how they would handle on a much lower connection if it would degrade gracefully.
Yeah.
Probably not.
I don't know. Maybe after, I mean, what is it? 99 is when the broadband thing. At least that's for us anyway. That's when we adopted broadband. So give it 17, 18 years into the future of compression and whatnot. They might have improved it just a little bit, but I can't imagine video being smooth and everything.
we
Uh,
might
yeah.
we might not be in the ISP monopolistic situation that we are in now, because we will still have mom and pop ISPs that buy banks of modems.
You think AOL would still be around? I mean, they're kind of still around now, but
I don't think so. We
no.
we had the internet when we still had modems, and it was clear that the open internet was much better than the walled garden of AOL. But then we forgot all that, and now everyone spends most of their time on Facebook.
What did you have any of the mom and pop internet providers?
MSI?
MSI?
No, not MSI.
Or the motherboard maker?
Mid Florida Internet, MFI.
Oh, huh. Okay.
They were in Ocala.
Oh, I used FlashNet. That was in Texas. Yep, FlashNet. And then for a while, because I couldn't afford internet, I was using. Do you remember Juno?
I do.
Yeah, Juno and Net Zero. I was using both.
I was just looking up Net Zero to see if they're still around. They are. They do broadband internet and cell phones now.
Oh man, is it free?
It is not free.
Net Zero. I would just I'd have the commercials in the bottom.
They do have a free plan. 200 megabytes of monthly data.
Is it a dial-up?
No, it's for your phone.
Huh.
It seems they do mobile plans now.
The logo's still the same. That's
Yeah,
great.
that is so 90s.
Yeah, Juno and Net Zero. It would make me load the tooltip bar. You know the little the commercial area in the bottom, and I wouldn't pay attention to it, and I would try to put a browser on top. I remember trying to put a browser on top of those commercials or a screen or whatever program, and it would just go on top of that. So it was like it was set to where you couldn't put anything on top of that.
They
Yeah.
still have free dial-up internet. Net Zero does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I think you should just get it, just to try it.
I don't
We need
I,
to use.
I don't
Go
even know
ahead.
if the landline service at my house even works.
Yeah, we don't
I
have landlines.
I've never used it.
We don't even have landlines. We just have cell phones here, and that's it. Wow. So I wonder if Juno is still up. Juno.
Yeah.
Juno Internet Service. Oh man, value priced internet service provider. Easy one-click tool to speed up your computer. Nope, not that.
So
Free
this
dial-up internet access.
so they're still there, but they would probably be a lot more popular.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, that reminds me of but this isn't it wasn't a internet service provider, but I was using 56K back then, and that was Greg and I we would install a software called it was one of those things where you would use the internet and get paid to use it. It would have ads in the bottom, and it would have this little green light that would turn red if it didn't detect a mouse move.
That's
And
crazy.
yeah, so it would if you're using your computer, if you were like hitting refresh or moving your mouse or whatever, the little light would turn green and it would show commercials in the bottom. So this toolbar, it would go right above your start screen and all that, the start button. And yeah, so I remember back, and this was, man, we were like in high school or something. We wrote a program to where you could just leave your computer on, leave it online, but it would move your mouse for you and click on different things, like just pretend that you're using the internet, and we would get paid. We would get paid, and we just leave our computers on, we turn off our monitors and get paid. That was great.
How much would you get paid?
Oh, not much. I mean, I think we would leave it on. And this is, of course, living in our parents' house and not paying for electricity or anything like that. And I think we would get paid like 10, $15 for doing that. But I'm sure my parents, they didn't like me leaving the computer on all the time. So,
Yeah, true. You spent more on power.
yeah. Another thing, too, was back in the modem days, when I was playing video games with my friends, my parents would try to use the phone and they couldn't because I was online playing, and that was always a challenge. So that's something that Broadband also fixed.
Definitely.
Yeah,
And
I
I,
remember. Go ahead.
sorry, I know you said you wanted to keep it around half an hour. We're at 40 minutes now.
All right. Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot more to add to that. So I guess we could just wrap it up.
Okay. You were gonna say one more you remember. I did not mean to cut you off. I just am horrible with
I
internet
don't
latency.
remember. I don't remember what I remembered
Sorry.
anymore.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, well, yeah, it's been good. We have plenty of other topics to talk about, so this is just one of many. I'm really interested to know if people do end up listening to this, what their thoughts are, and maybe what their first internet provider was, and when they first got broadband, what year, and yeah.
Well, let's take this offline, get the hosting worked out, and we can start getting set up to where we can get some listeners and some comments from them.
Cool.
I can't wait to see the haters that point out every single thing that we say wrong.
I had broadband back in 1956. All right.
All right.
Cool,
so
man.
This was episode 1 of Fork Bomb. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
We are
Okay,
recording.
I'm Euro. We already screwed up. All right, let's start over. Ready?
Okay.
I'm Euro.
I'm Chris. This is
And
Fork
this
Bomb.
is Fork Bomb.
Ah, shit. There's an and. You didn't write and?
I didn't. I didn't. Okay, let's go back. All right, I'm starting you over.
Okay. You don't have to hit stop on record. I mean, we can just...
No. We're just gonna edit it out.
Yeah.
All this is basically gonna get cut out.
This is
Or
the
we can just
blooper
laugh
reel.
at it. Yeah. All right, I'm Euro.
I'm Chris. This is
And this is Fork Bomb. Why did I say and?